Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're going to learn about genetics, and if you open up the Google Slides, okay, I'm really sorry, but as a result of the board not working, you're going to have to look at my Google Slide here just to see what we're saying, okay? So we have a scenario called genetics. What does genetics mean, do you think? Freddie, what would you say genetics means?
It's in the DNA.
Good, that's a really good start. So genetics is about DNA, and we know that DNA is made of genes. So genes is about 19,000 genes, which code for all the proteins in your body, in us. So it is about DNA, okay? And if we go to the second slide here, you can see, has everyone got that on their second slide, yeah? A reminder of DNA, and can we just write here that DNA is the genetic material passed on to children and is the instruction manual that tells us how to make a human and tells cells what they should be. Let me just check if I can edit this very quickly. Can I make it so? Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. If I add, I can do the amendments here because of this. So if I attach this, and I do, students can view the file. I can, oh no, that's not too long, isn't it? I want to say that students can edit the file better than I can. So let me. Okay, guys, so if you, I think on your task now, if you go to the second one, you should see what I'm typing. Can you confirm that? Emma, could you let Sam, please? Okay. So, how does a child, or can everyone confirm that they've got what I've just written? Yeah? Okay. Right, so how does a child, and we actually use the word offspring, form? Well, we know that we come from a sperm and an egg from our parents. Who's doing that? Well, you don't actually have to do this, Callum, because I'm writing. If you are you highlighting what I'm doing now?
Oh, so I can copy it.
You don't need to, because I'm writing it for you.
Oh.
Because you've now got this version, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay? So we know that we come from a sperm and an egg for our parents. They fuse, and we have our DNA that makes us. Now this is quite interesting, because the moment at which fertilization happens is this, bang, you've got your DNA. That's it. You've got your cards that you've been dealt. by your parents. Okay? That's it. You have your DNA for life. You have the hand of cards that you have been dealt. From that moment, you are going to have a certain skin color, height, should be actually projected height, tongue rolling, you know this? Can everyone do that? Can everyone do that? Is there anybody who can't do that?
Yeah.
You can't do that?
I do.
Exactly. It's weird, isn't it? Some people can tongue roll, some people can't. Okay? Tongue rolling. Hair colour, etc. It's all mapped out in a code that your mother's body will start, and then you will grow up to be once you are out in the world. It's amazing to think, isn't it, that if you think about the way you are now, all of those features, I should say, of course, within that are the things that we all have that are utterly in common. The enzymes for respiration, kidneys, lungs, hearts, okay? We all have those in common. But it was all mapped out. Literally, at that moment, bang, fusion of sperm and egg, you were always going to be, if we take Liam, you were always going to be somebody who is over 6 foot. You're always going to have brown hair, Caucasian skin. You're always going to have that little dimple on your chin. I don't know if you've got, I'm kind of generally talking about now. You're always going to have that eye colour. And then you've grown into it. Artie, concentrating?
Yeah.
Good. One important point here is this. Are we exactly now, as our DNA has mapped out? Yes or no? Freddie? Freddie, I don't know what you're doing on your thing. Sorry? Yeah, no, you don't need to do anything. I'm doing it all the time. So I need everyone's focus. Because I'm doing this for you, I need everyone's focus. Freddie, are you exactly as your DNA has mapped out? Or not? That's a merit. That's just a merit. That's exactly your environment changes as well. I don't think anyone here has dyed their hair. Has anyone dyed their hair? Ever? Here? No? Yeah? Callum?
I bleached it.
Bleached it, right. Okay, so if you bleach it, my mother always used to put lemon juice in my hair when I was younger to make my hair go blonde. And actually there's a thing called beach bum now, I think, which can make your hair go blonde, which I might have to be succumbing to in the summer. Don't tell anyone. But if you've got blonde hair, okay, if you've got blonde hair because you've bleached it, your DNA said darker hair. Your environment, you change that. Let me give you a question here about Woody. The average height of Victorian people compared to now was shorter, about 3 or 4 inches shorter. Could you tell me why that could be?
Like environmental changes.
What could be an environmental change from your Victorian times to now? Average height of people in.
Well, you've probably got cleaner living conditions.
Okay, that's interesting.
Oh wait, and your diet's changed.
Brilliant diet. We are so lucky now. We have the ability to have as many calories as we'd like, no matter what your financial situation. If you want to go to McDonald's every day and eat McDonald's, you are going to be the height you're meant to be because you've given the energy to do it. You're also going to be, does your DNA say that you should be obese? No. Obesity has gone more now, as has height. In Victorian times, very few people were obese. Because guess what? On average, loads and loads of people were really poor. And they didn't get the diet to allow their DNA to come to fruition. Which means your DNA might say 6'2", but if you ain't got the energy to grow 6'2", you become a 5'9". Okay? So one important thing though, are we exactly now as I've been mapped out? No. Not necessarily, as our environment might change the plan. E.g., we could dye our hair, pick up a scar or a tattoo. Yeah, there's no DNA that says big tattoo saying, I love Mary or whatever, that's I heard about a woman actually, was it a woman? Somebody tattooed their partner's name on their arm or something, and then they got divorced. It's really hard, isn't it? Then to have, if you did have a new partner with a tattoo. But there's obviously no DNA for tattoos, okay? Even height, if you don't have the required energy to grow as high as your DNA might have planned. Victorian children, Victorian people on average were shorter than us. Why do I say on average? Angelica, why do I say Victorian people on average were shorter than us? Yeah, I mean, the very well-off people in Victorian times, the upper classes, they didn't have a problem getting their full energy. So it would be wrong to say Victorian people were shorter than us, okay? And in fact, in a question in your paper, with the smokers and the non-smokers, remember that with the obesity? That's at the beginning, isn't it? With this graph, some people said, that people who smoke have less heavy babies. Well, can you see? You can't say that because the average of the babies here and here are different. You can't say all babies are lighter, because these babies are lighter and they smoke than these babies who smoke. So you can't say blanket across the board. People who smoke have lighter babies, because those babies of someone who's smoking are heavier than people who didn't smoke, who were underweight. Okay, so you need to be careful about stating something categorically. Okay, so we then come to, so each person now each has 2 sets of genes. Okay, we get 23 chromosomes from our dad and 23 from our mum. Now, here's the interesting thing. Each parent says, this is what I think our baby should have. Okay? Metaphorical. So if you think about something easy like eye colour, your mother's egg might have had DNA that said, oh, blue eyes, let's have blue eyes. Metaphorically, there is no conversation, of course. And your dad might have had DNA that said, I think we should have brown eyes. Browns are solid, I've got brown eyes. Right? And what happens is, your parents' DNA line up against each other, and incredibly, they kind of make a decision. Okay. Each chromosome of your parents, e.g., chromosome number 1, will have the same type of genes on. E.g., let's say both have eye colour and hair colour. The chromosome ones will line up next to each other, and a decision will be made about which feature the eventual baby will have. So, DNA from the egg, mum, might say blue eyes. DNA from the sperm might say brown eyes. And there will be a result in the offspring. But who will win? Does anybody know? If mum said blue and dad said brown, does anybody know what colour eyes someone would have? Hands up for blue. So everyone thinks it's brown. Why do you think it's brown?
It's brown and dark.
The father says let's have brown eyes. The mother says let's have blue eyes. What colour will the baby have?
Blue.
Blue? Brown? Which is more common in our society? Blue or brown?
Brown.
Brown is brown considerably. Okay. So we need now Welcome to genetics. We need to know a term here called dominant or recessive. Dominant will be expressed in the offspring. Recessive will only be expressed if there is no dominant competing with it. So, in our example, brown is dominant to blue, and the child will have brown eyes. Hands up who's got blue eyes in there. 1, 2, and me. I can tell you something absolutely categorical. Both of your parents, unless you've had a mutation, both your parents have blue eyes.
No.
No? How can that be? Hang on. You've got blue eyes, and you've got blue eyes, and I've got blue eyes, and yet your parents don't have blue eyes.
Well, no, my mum has blue eyes, but dad has brown eyes.
So how can that be? Is anybody here got brown eyes, and one of their parents has got blue eyes? How can this be? So, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you something which is genetics. And it all stems from the very basic thing I've told you so far. Are you ready for this? You have a sperm, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to use 2 letters. I'm going to use big B for brown, and I'm going to use a little b for blue. Now, we always use a big letter for a dominant, and I'm going to use a term here that we're going to have to learn, a dominant allele. An allele is a version of a gene. So we've got a blue allele and a brown allele, okay? If there was a gene for football, can everyone just shut the screens now because this is just me talking. If there was a gene for football clubs, Liverpool would be one allele, Man City would be another allele. Southampton, etc. If there was an allele, sorry, if there was a gene for fruit, oranges would be one allele, bananas would be another. If there was a gene for eye colour, there is, blue would be one allele, brown would be the other. It's a version of the gene. So imagine if we have the scenario where, as I said, Dad is going, brown, brown, I want to give a big thing. And Mum, in the egg, is saying, no, I like blue. That's a blue version. And then they come together in sexual reproduction. And then when the chromosome, do you remember I said chromosome number 1? When those 2 chromosomes line up, we have big B and we have small b in this child. Let's say this child is called which one of your parents has got brown eyes? Your dad. And what's your dad called?
Ben.
Ben. Okay. Let's say this baby is called Ben. And Ben has, bearing in mind what we said, Artie, brown is dominant to blue. Here's Ben. What colour eyes has he got?
Brown.
Good. Ben has brown eyes. That's great. And he spent his whole life having brown eyes. But then what happened? Ben meets
Sherry.
Ben meets Sherry.
Sorry?
Sorry?
So, where is it?
What's your mum's name?
Sherry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So Ben meets Sherry. Obviously they get on. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is this. Here's Ben. He's lived his life. He's always had brown eyes, but he's had both these alleles in his DNA. Now what happens is Ben produces loads of sperm. Okay, sorry, but it's
Little personal.
no, so, listen, we're biologists. He's a man, he's produced sperm. I know he's produced sperm because he's got a child.
But that's the last one I learned today.
Okay. And what's going to happen is, this is the key. Ben couldn't, because he's going to give half his DNA, 23 chromosomes, some of his sperm are going to have big B's, and some of them are going to have small B's. Because he's giving out half his DNA to some sperm and half to the other. Now, this is what happens. Elsewhere in the world, growing up somewhere else, comes Sherry. And Sherry was, in just the same way, given from her parents, 2 alleles for eye colour. What colour is she?
Blue.
Blue eyes. Sherry, if she's blue eyes and it's recessive, must be small b from her parents. Because otherwise, if there was a brown in her DNA, she'd have been brown eyes. So, we know that Sherry is small b. So when Sherry produces her eggs, can only give small b's. If you randomly go, if she's got blue eyes, just to show that if, I'm not being, if you think about me with blue eyes, the only sperm that I can produce is small b. Okay? That's just the way it is. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure with my mum's dad had green eyes.
That's absolutely fine. Don't worry about that. Okay? What you can definitely say is that your mum is small b for
Right.
blue eye colour.
So what do you notice how some people's eye colour changes? It's like really
Yeah.
like some.
We call that a genetic mutation.
Right.
Okay. So in any of these things, we're going to have, there's variation, but this is the general term. Okay. So now let's see what this means. Ben, okay, could have been, he was big B, small b. He could have donated a big B, or he could have donated a small b. And Sherry is small b, and she could donate a small b, or she could donate a small b. Now, sexual reproduction is utterly random. If a person produces 250 million sperm in an ejaculation, you've got 125 million big B's in the sperm, saying brown eyes. You've got 125 million sperm saying blue eyes, and you don't know which one's going to fertilise the egg. And we talked about this in gender, didn't we? We talked about the fact that if it's X and Y, then it could have been Samantha rather than Sam if a millisecond later a X chromosome had fertilised the egg instead of a Y, because boys are XY. So, what we can do now is how we work out genetics. Are you ready for this? It's called a Punnett square. And the first thing we do is we just take the two letters and we split them, just like that. Because they're the two things that could be donated. And then we will do the man, because a man is XY, we'll do the y-axis going down for the man. So a man could, this man, Ben, could donate a big B or could donate a small b. And with Sherry, we'll go across. Sherry could donate a small b or could donate a small b. Now we think about all the scenarios. Artie, screen down please. Now we think about all the scenarios that could happen. But instead of doing it in our head, we just write it down. So Ben's big B sperm could have fertilised Sherry's small b egg. So we get an option here, which is big B, small b. That's one option, might have happened. We then get a scenario where, hang on, Ben's small b sperm could have fertilised Sherry's small b egg. So we could write that one as well. But hang on, Ben's big B egg could have fertilised the other small b option that Sherry would have produced. So can you see what we're doing actually? All we're doing is multiplying these out. So we've got small b, so we've got big B times small b again. Now you usually write the big letter first, so I'm just going to do that same again. And then the last option is his small b sperm could have fertilised the other small b. Now we've got the various options that could have happened. And we know that Woody was one of these. There was a 50-50 chance when Ben started a family. Are you the oldest?
No.
Right. When there's a 50-50 chance when they decided to have another baby and it was Woody. There was a 50-50 chance that Woody could have had blue eyes or brown eyes. We know it was definitely one of Ben's small bees packaged into a sperm that fertilised Sherry's small bee eggs, which were always small bee. 50-50 chance. And it just so happened that it was blue eyes. Do any of your brothers have brown eyes?
Sister only.
Right, brilliant. So, what's she called?
Flossie.
Flossie, great. So if we look at Flossie, okay, which will give green. Flossie, Ben has always had big B, small b. So the next time, is she older or younger? Older. So actually, when Flossie was born, okay, what actually happened was that it was a different combination. We actually know that Sherry didn't supply anything different because she couldn't. But actually, for Flossie, Ben produced one of the sperm went in the big B went into the sperm, and so it was just a set of chances for eye colour that Flossie had a 50-50 chance as well, and her 50-50 went the other way.
So, why doesn't she have brown eyes?
She does.
She doesn't.
I thought you said she did have brown eyes.
That's just green eyes.
Oh, right, okay, right. So, does anybody have brown eyes?
Well, I think she used to have brown eyes, and they're
Okay, all right. Well, let's, for argument's sake, let's keep her to having brown eyes for when she was born, okay? Because that helps me a lot, okay? Once again, genetic mutations happen and we can't necessarily predict them in randomly, okay? So, it was a 50-50 chance for her to have brown eyes, and she did. Why are they brown? They're brown because there is the dominant big B. And if it's there, it will come out. So that is what we call a Punnett square. Punnett square. It's an easy way of us working out the probability of something happening. That was 50-50. Now, imagine if we had somebody who had, let me just change this. Somebody who had big B, small b from their parents, and big B, small b from their parents. Okay? Callum, what did I say you need to do? First thing you do when you get two letters like that. What do I need to do when I get the two letters like that?
You need to make it.
What could, okay, so let's say this is a man, okay, again, and this is a woman,
Yeah.
okay? So Callum, can you tell me, what letters could each of the sperm have that this man has?
B, big B and small B.
Brilliant. So what we do is we reflect that by just splitting the letters. And so this could be a sperm with big B, or this could be a sperm with small b. Okay? Artie, what letters could this woman have in her eggs?
Big B and small B.
Brilliant. So once again, you see we've got an egg. Now, unlike Sherry, this woman, just like the man, could donate to her egg a big B or small b. And then we do that Punnett square thing. It's really easy. We draw a bit of a cross like that, put the man down the side with the two letters, we put the woman across with the two letters, and then we just multiply them out. Have you done matrices in maths? No? Right. All you do is just multiply each one. So Angelica, if this big B went with this big B, what would that produce? Good. Big B, big B. Emma, if this big B went with that small b, what would it produce? Brilliant. And Sam, if this small b went with this big B, what would it produce?
Big B, small B.
Good, excellent. And then lastly, Freddie, what would those two produce?
Two small Bs.
Two small b's. Liam, what's the probability that these two could have a blue-eyed child?
Which one's blue, big B or small?
Which is the, what do you need because B is dominant, okay? Because B is dominant, if it's there, big B, sorry, because big B is dominant, if it's there, and what does big B represent?
Oh, okay, brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if big B is there, they'll be brown.
Yeah.
What do you therefore need to have blue?
Just two small Bs.
Brilliant. How many small b's are there?
One.
One. So this one is our small b, small b. So what's the probability, Liam, that some two parents who have this genetic makeup will have a blue-eyed child?
25%.
Excellent. 1 in 4, 25%. Okay. Now this isn't set in stone because it's random, but this is an interesting thing. Your mother is blue eyes, your dad is brown eyes, so you could kind of understand, couldn't you, that maybe my mum has given me my blue eyes. She hasn't. She's given you half your blue eyes. Your dad's given you half your blue eyes. Okay, but this is interesting, isn't it? Because Callum, what colour eyes does this man have?
Brown.
Good. What colour eyes does this woman have? That's the win. Two brown-eyed people can have a blue-eyed child. Not very often. 1 in 4. If they're hidden recessive blue that they've been carrying all their lives, but you couldn't see it because brown is dominant, These two people have been hiding their blue allele, their version, and it just so happens that a quarter of the time, when they have sexual intercourse and fertilization, a quarter of the time, the man's blue hidden one will be the one to fertilize the egg, and the woman's hidden blue one will be the egg that's fertilized, and you'll get a quarter of the time a blue-eyed child from two brown-eyed people. If they have both the different alleles. Does that always mean, Artie, that we're going to get a possibility of a blue-eyed child if someone's got brown eyes? Why not?
They could be big.
Artie, you're getting a merit for that. That is absolutely. This is so. When you walked into this room, guys, and you knew nothing about this, and this is really good. Artie's exactly right. If you start off with big B, okay, let's make it easy completely to start with. Imagine there's big B, and big B. That person's got brown eyes. Oh, that person's got brown eyes. But look at what they can do. They can go big B or big B. Big B or big B. And then when we do the Punnett square, it's a bit of a waste of time. Because, as Artie said, if they're big B, you've just got big B, big B, big B, big B, big B, big B, and big B, big B. That person, every one of those children, is brown eyes. Okay? That in cultures where there's almost uniformly brown eyes, that might be much more likely. Okay? But even if we go Ben and Sherry, but Ben, I know your dad had a hidden blue allele. There's no way you could have it without that. But imagine even if you had big B, and big B, small b, that is going to produce, if I just do this to save time, big B, and big B, small b. Look at this. If you have two brown-eyed people, one of them is big B, as Artie said. This translates out to big B, big B, small b, big B, and big B, small b. But look, big B, brown, is dominant. So that actually still is 100% brown. So, we call these Punnett squares. Now, the most popular Punnett square that they ask you is the one that's interesting, that one. It's the one where they get you to cross two brown-eyed people and show that they could have a blue-eyed child. Okay? So, are you ready for this? I'm going to give you some definitions. And these definitions are definitions we need to know within the story I've told. And the definitions we need to know are, first of all, allele, a version of a gene. In our examples of eye colour, brown or blue, big B or small b. Now, just to say, you've got 19,000 genes in your DNA. Eye colour is just one. So there'll be loads and loads of times when your parents' DNA lines up and they make another choice. Skin colour, earlobes, rolling tongue, all of these. So allele is a version of a gene. We then come to another definition. Genotype. The genotype is the two letters that you've been given by your parents. Ben's genotype here was big B, small b. I know that's true. Because if it was big B, you wouldn't have blue eyes. Sherry's genotype the two letters that she got from her parents, are definitely small b, because she had blue eyes, and it has to be both of the recessive ones. Okay. They're the genotypes. Genotype. We then come back to one that I put on the PowerPoint. Dominant and recessive. Dominant alleles will be expressed in the person if they're there. And recessive alleles will only be expressed if there's only recessive alleles or there's no dominant. Okay? So we need dominant and recessive. Now, here's two new ones, completely new words for you. If the alleles are different, look, big B, small b, we call it heterozygous. Hetero means different. If you're heterosexual, you have sexual relations with somebody who is of a different gender. Okay? If you've got the same allele, you're homozygous. Okay? Heterozygous means the two alleles are different. Homozygous means the two alleles are the same. When you come to deciding what actually you see, Angelica, what colour eyes would this person have, did we say? Blue. What you actually see in the person is called the phenotype. Whoa, guys. This is tricky stuff. I like to think of the pH for phenotype being pH for photo. Because although Ben has big B, small b, you can't see, you don't meet Ben. Hi Ben, hi, I'm Woody's dad. Oh, I see you're small b, small b. I can't see into his DNA. I can only see his brown eyes. So the phenotype is what you see in the individual. The phenotype for Sherry is blue eyes. Her genotype is small b, small b. Okay? So, are you ready for this? Allele, a version of a gene. Genotype, the two alleles that you have at a gene. One from your mum, one from your dad, written down. Big B, small b. Dominant, if it's there, it will be expressed. Recessive, it's only expressed if both alleles are there, and it won't be expressed if there's a dominant one there. Heterozygous, the two alleles are different, so the letters are different. Homozygous, the two alleles are the same. And phenotype, what you see expressed in the individual. So whatever our DNA, let's say that there's big T and small t for tongue roll. Whatever our DNA is in all of us, apart from Callum, Callum's genotype is, let's say, small t, his phenotype is no tongue roll. Our genotype could be big T, small t, or big T, if tongue rolling is dominant. I think if we all tongue roll and he doesn't, that would suggest in this room that big T is dominant, because that's more common, like brown eyes are more common. His phenotype, what you see in the individual, is tongue rolling. I can't look at him and go, oh yeah, I see you've got big small t. That's the genotype, that's hidden. The phenotype is what you see expressed. Okay? So, guys, we have to learn those definitions. It's one of the hardest things in your course. If they ask you to define the term genotype, you need to know it, and that could be the one they use next year. Okay? Guys, well worked today, and I will see you next time, and we will finish this off. Okay? Thank you very much.